Welcome to Learn to Float. Hi, I'm Дэвид Робсон from Аштанга-Yoga Center of Toronto. This video is all about floating in Aштанга-виньяса-йога. Specifically, it is about floating in Surья-Намаскar, otherwise known as the sun salutations. In this section of the video, we're going to look at the theory and practice of floating vиньясas. Floating vиньясas are graceful, weightless transitions between postures. Floating happens when there is perfect union between breath and movement. This moving breathing system is called vиньяса. For each movement, there is one breath. For example, in Surya-Namaskar A, the first sun salutation, there are 9 vиньясas. You can think of floating as a way of doing vиньясas. Floating requires us to keep our attention on our breath and body. Aštanga-vиньяса-йога uses a special technique to help us keep our focus while we practice. This technique is called tristanam, which means the union of 3 places of attention. The 3 places of attention are asana, posture, drishti, gaze, and breath, even-sounded breathing. While we move through the practice, we keep coming back to these 3 points of focus again and again. Let's go over them in a bit more detail. Asana literally means seat or posture. Holding asanas helps us to fix our mind in concentration. Posture provides a screen against which the impermanent nature of thoughts and feelings becomes starkly apparent. In this way, we use asanas in Ashtanga Yoga to purify the body of obstacles in our path to enlightenment. Drishti means gaze or looking place. Each pose has a drishti or a specific place we should train the gaze on. By fixing the gaze while we practice, we build concentration, purify our mind, and learn to control our senses. The breath is a sounded breath that we do throughout the practice. The even breath builds heat in the body and purifies our nervous and energetic systems. The breath is always done through the nose with a soft hissing sound in the back of the throat. It should sound like waves crashing on a distant shore or an angry cobra. You can't do the proper breath or correct asanas without bandhas. Bandhas are locks, energetic and physical contractions that we hold throughout the practice. The 2 bandhas that we use the most in Ashtanga Yoga are Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha. Mula Bandha means root lock. You find Mula Bandha by contracting the anus. When you contract Mula Bandha, you should be able to feel a tightening between the genitals and the anus. Your tailbone will be slightly pulled down. This contraction adds length to your lower back and helps to stabilize the lowest part of your torso. Energetically, Mula Bandha locks energy into the body. Sri K. Patabi Joyce, Guruji, told us that we should hold Mula Bandha all of the time, 24/7. Uddiyana Bandha means lifting up lock. It is a lower abdominal lock that is related to Mula Bandha. It helps us lift the energy that Mula Bandha has sealed into the body. If you put your fingers about 2 or 3 inches below your navel and engage Mula Bandha, you can feel a slight movement under the fingers. The sensation should be a hollowing out feeling, as though the middle of the lower belly is drawing out towards the hip bones. While it's necessary to keep Uddiyana Bandha engaged throughout your practice, try not to let the contraction travel any higher than the navel. We need to keep the diaphragm relaxed for proper breathing to occur. Now that you have the bandhas engaged, let's talk a little bit more about the breath. When breathing in your practice, keep your jaw and the roof of your mouth nice and soft. Let the tip of your tongue rest on the back of the upper front teeth. Very slightly constrict the throat to help you find the sound. Make the inhalations the same duration as the exhalations. This means that if you're inhaling for 4 counts, then you're exhaling for 4 counts too. Also, Try to make the inhalations and exhalations equal intensity, making each sound even and steady. Let me show you. Engage Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha as you exhale all your air. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Remember that you want the inhalations to be the same duration and intensity as the exhalations. Inhale, keep your jaw soft. Exhale, engage your bandhas. Inhale, keeping the sound even at the base of your throat. Exhale, match the sound of the inhalation. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Vиньяса means moving breathing system. We work towards achieving a perfect union between breath and movement. As we move through the vиньясas, we maintain our focus on the breath. The steady breath, coupled with the heat of our practice, purifies our body, nervous system, and our senses. I'm going to teach you 2 rules that can make your vinyasa more focused and will help you to float. First, movement always follows breath. Second, your vinyasa should be a straight line. Let's explore each rule in a little more detail. My teacher, Sharat Joyce, has said, breath controls the mind controls the body. Therefore, we work to make the breath steady and calm. The breath sets the pace for the practice, and the movements fit into the duration of the breath. Let me show you by doing Surya-Namaskara A, making the movement follow my breath. From Samastiti, exhaling. Ekam, inhale, lift the arms, hands touch with the end of the breath. Dwe, exhale, speed the movement up, hands on the floor. Trini, inhale, slow down, lift the head. Chatwari, step or hop back, Chaturanga Dandasana. Pancha, inhale, slow down into upward dog. Shat, exhale, go back into downward dog. Inhale here. And then as you exhale, get ready. Sapta, inhale, walk or hop, feet to the hands, head up. Ashtau, exhale, slowly fold, move with the breath. Nava, inhale, speed up, palms touch, look up. Exhale, back into Samastiti. We're using a metronome that marks 1 beat per second. So the inhales are for 4 seconds and the exhalations are for 4 seconds. That's a pretty slow breath. The drum is just a prop to help us keep track of the time as we move through the vinyasas. When you do your regular practice, you won't use the drum and you'll move to the pace of your own breath. So you might move a little bit quicker or maybe even a little slower. What matters is that you're feeling what it's like to breathe evenly and to pace the movements evenly with the breath. Let's look at a few of the vinyasas in Surya-Namaskar, which are often not in sync with the breath. The inhalation on Trini, lifting the head from the forward bend, is often quite static. It's such a short movement that we usually pop up into the end position while we're only halfway through our inhalation. Instead, try to time the lift of your head over the 4 count so that you don't stop moving until the very end of the breath. You can use this vinyasa to really deepen your bandhas and set up the arms and shoulders for the coming jump back. Chatwari, the vinyasa into Chaturanga Dandasana, can be difficult to match with the breath. Try stepping or hopping back into a plank position with your arms only slightly bent, around 130 degrees. Then, still exhaling, bend the arms the rest of the way to 90 degrees so that you arrive in Chaturanga Dandasana at the end of the exhalation. The inhalation into Pancha, upward facing dog, is another vinyasa that tends to be out of sync with the breath. Students often come into the full expression of the pose by the second beat of the inhalation and hold there for the next half of the breath. The back bend makes it even more difficult to inhale. So not only is the movement out of sync with the breath, but it can also be difficult to take a full breath in. If you go back to rule number 1, movement follows the breath, then you know what to do. Slow the lift into upward dog way down so that you don't reach the full expression of the back bend until the very end of the inhalation. This slow movement will also allow you to take a longer and deeper inhalation. I mentioned 2 rules before. The second rule is make your vinyasa a straight line, as in the quickest way between 2 points is a straight line. Avoid all extraneous movements when going through the vinyasas. These are ritualized movements that require your full attention. Try to notice any tics or habits that have crept into your practice. Don't include any fancy flourishes, extra movements, or mudras in your vinyasas. These are not prescribed as part of the vinyasa, so stick to the clear lines of the teaching. By minimizing extra movements, your energy and mind become highly focused. This is an important technique to help you deepen the meditation of your practice. Whenever you encounter a habit of movement that isn't part of the vinyasa, continue to breathe and stay on the straight line. By maintaining your calm, steady focus, you can dissolve unconscious habits and patterns. This is one of our points of access to the deeper levels of the mind. Drishti can help you make your vinyasa a straight line. When you consciously set your gaze, it helps you to rein in the mind and keep track of the vinyasas. Each of the vinyasas in the Surya-Namaskara has a drishti, as do all of the asanas in the 6 series of Ashtanga-yoga. Let's look at a few of the vinyasas in Surya-Namaskara B, where there are typically extra movements. Ekam, lifting the arms. Sometimes an extra little swing back with the arms slips into the practice and then becomes habit. Or you brush the floor with the fingers. Just lift the arms straight up. Keep your fingers together, palms flat. No flourishes, no mudras. Lift the arms straight out in front of you every time and keep them straight the whole way up. When you fold on dwe, stretch your arms straight out in front by your ears as you come down, and then put the hands on the floor with intention. Once the hands have been planted in the second vinyasa, try not to lift them again until you get to sapta. On trini, just lift the head and the bandhas. See if you can keep the hands flat. If you can't keep them down, then at least try not to move the hands around. Going into downward dog is the vinyasa that usually has the most extra movements. Often, it's just a small step forward or back to reposition the feet. Of course, it makes sense to change position if the pose is off, but try to discern between a conscious correction and habitual shuffling. If you're always taking the same step forward or back, compensate for the misalignment when you go back to chaturanga. Put your feet into the correct position when you jump back so that you won't have to change them in downward dog. Initially, it can feel strange to consciously limit any extra movements. Some of the poses feel uncomfortable without the customary shuffling and repositioning. The discomfort, when met with a calm and steady breath, will quickly go away. That covers the teaching section of the video. Now it's time to learn the technique. In this section of the video, technique, I'm going to show you how to float through the Surya-Namaskara. Specifically, we're going to focus on the actions of lifting and jumping back to Chaturanga Dandasana and jumping forward from Adho Mukha Svanasana. I'm going to break down the lifting and jumping back actions of the Surya-Namaskara, which always occurs on the 4th vinyasa, Chatwari. The vinyasa is always an exhalation. First, let's start with the hands. Since our hands aren't really designed to carry all of our weight, we need to be very careful about our alignment when we try to balance on them. If you don't distribute your weight evenly across your hands, you can start to get wrist pain. Your hands should be exactly shoulder width apart. The fingers evenly spread. Not too wide, not too close. The creases of your wrists should be parallel with the front line of your mat. Whenever you press weight down into the hands, it's very important to keep the palms flat. What you will often find is that the inner edge of the palm, the space under the index knuckle, wants to lift off the floor. To avoid this, try to really stretch out through the index finger. As you lengthen out through the finger, you can feel the inner palm flatten into the floor. Try to encourage the inner palm to stay down here by pressing a little harder through the index knuckle. Since we're talking about jumping back from the third vinyasa position of Surya-Namaskara, you will be moving from a standing forward bend position. One of the big problems here can be that it seems impossible to get the hands flat on the floor. The solution? Bend your knees. Just bend your knees so that your stomach is on your thighs. You might need to move your hands slightly forward and then lean into them. That's okay. Just try not to put them too far away from your feet, as that will make it more difficult later on. Hopefully the hands can be flat now. As you can imagine, your shoulders play a big role in helping you lift and jump back. When you use your shoulders, you want to try to keep them connected to the strength in the back. One of the things you may have noticed when you pressed through the inner palms was that the shoulders dropped away from your ears. That's a good action for arm balancing. It means that you're accessing the strength of the back and the core as well as the shoulders. When your inner hands lift off the floor, it often means that you're overusing the tops of the shoulders. When your arms are extended and the tops of the shoulders overwork, you open the shoulder joint and risk injury. Let's look at an open shoulder joint versus a closed shoulder joint. When the arm is extended and the shoulder joint is open, you can see that the armpit is open and the top of the shoulder is lifted. If you reach with the arm when the shoulder joint is open, all of the movement comes from the shoulder area. When the shoulder joint is closed, which you can do by rotating the upper arm out away from the ear, the arm and shoulder are connected to the back. There is much less give when you reach the arm with a closed shoulder joint. All of the movement comes from the back and the torso. When you press your inner hands firmly into the ground, think about slightly rolling your upper arms away from your ears and closing the shoulder joint. You can tell when you've got the action correct as the inner elbow joints, the eyes of the elbows, will turn from facing each other to a slight forward angle. The more you press into the inner hands and close the shoulders, the more the shoulder blades move down your back away from your head. The shoulder blades should also move away from each other. This helps create a strong upper back. A good way to find the strength in the upper back is to create a horseshoe shape in the inner arms and chest. You can do this by pressing through the inner palms, slightly rolling the upper arm out, and lifting between the shoulder blades. If you look between your arms and chest, there should be a horseshoe shape. Try to exaggerate the horseshoe shape by slightly rounding the upper back more. Remember to keep the shoulder joints closed when you round the back. Now that the arms and the shoulders are strong and stable, you need to connect them to your core. You can do that by drawing in your front ribs and pulling them down. When you use the upper body, especially with the arms extended, sometimes there's a tendency to arch the spine and extend the front of the torso. You can see that when the back is arched, the front lower ribs press forward and lift away from the spine. When the ribs pop out like this, it can be difficult to engage your core. To really access your strength, you need to go in the opposite direction. Try this. While standing, extend your arms up into the air. Now try to draw your front ribs down and in. Can you feel how that connects the shoulders to the torso? When you really pull in the front lower ribs, you'll start to feel a strong contraction in the lower belly below the navel. That's Uddiyana Bandha, the lower abdominal lock. Deepen the hollow of Uddiyana Bandha by pulling inward 2 to 4 inches below your navel. Follow that strength down to the end of your tailbone to find Mula Bandha. Now try the same movement from a forward bend. Put your hands on the floor near your feet. You might need to bend the knees to get the palms flat. With your arms straight, press into the hands and see if you can contain the front ribs like you just did standing up. As you press into the hands, lean a little of the weight more forward. Let the weight come into the hands. Remember to press firmly into the inner palms by stretching through the index fingers. Slightly roll the upper arms out, away from the chest, closing the shoulder joint. Push into the hands to lift between the shoulder blades. Try to create that horseshoe shape between the inner arms and the chest. Contain the front ribs again and feel your bandhas start to engage. Hollow the lower abdomen below the navel. Leaning a little further forward into the hands, come up on the balls of the feet or the toes. When you shift your weight forward into the hands, at first try to keep your thighs and torso close together. This means you might need to keep your knees bent. When you start to lift, it's important to keep the legs and torso compact so that the weight of your body is centered over your arms. To lift the feet, the body and the head have to come forward. Do you know what a teeter-totter or a seesaw is? It's a playground toy, a long, flat plank balanced on a fulcrum with a support in the middle. Kids sit at either end and go up and down. We need to imagine the mechanics of the teeter-totter to help lift our feet. Your arms will be the support on which you lever the body. Your body is like the plank of the teeter-totter. Your head and torso have to pivot forward past the fulcrum of your arms to lift the hips and the legs. Get into the forward bend position and press the hands into the floor. Keep your arms straight. Remember, your body and legs should touch, so go ahead and bend the knees as much as you need to. Palms flat, press through your inner hands and make the horseshoe shape in the chest and arms. Keep pulling your front ribs in and down. Fix your gaze on a spot on the floor between your hands. With your arms still straight, start to lean your weight forward so that your upper back comes past your arms and wrists. Really try to keep the legs close to the body so that your ribs and thighs stay in contact. Lean a bit more forward and exhale. Press into the hands, round the back, lift the feet. You might have been able to float the feet up off the floor, but usually it takes more than a few tries to get this action working. Another option is to do a hop as you bring the weight into the hands. As you lean into the hands, thighs and torso still in contact, do a little jump with your legs and see if you can keep pressing into the hands. Try to keep the thighs against the torso even as you jump into the air. Your goal is to eventually get the hips over the shoulders so that all of your weight is more or less stacked over your fulcrum. This is the upward part of the jump back. When you lift your feet, make sure that you don't lift them more than parallel to the floor. When the feet lift too high, it looks like this. Like a donkey kick. The knees don't need to bend more than 90 degrees. Any higher and the movement is wasted energy. Remember, vinyasa should move in the most direct line possible with the least extra movement and for the duration of the breath. The downward portion of your jump back requires you to extend your legs back and your chest forward. Let's go back to the teeter-totter analogy. As you extend your legs back from your lifted position, your weight will transfer behind the fulcrum of the arms. This will cause you to land heavily. To make the jump back light and floaty, you need to extend the chest forward in sync with the legs shooting back. This way your weight stays evenly distributed on both sides of your fulcrum. You initiate the downward part of the jump back by bending the elbows. Your biceps have to come forward and down, eventually parallel to the floor. This requires a bit of strength in the arms and chest, and it might take a while to build, but it will come if you consistently reach for it. It doesn't really matter if you can't bend the arms to a right angle. Even a little bit of a bend makes the downward part of the jump back much lighter. It's very important to make sure that when you're bending your arms, your elbows stay more or less over the wrists. Try not to let them come too far back behind the hands. You should also try to keep the arms close to the sides of the body as you come down. Whether you lift or hop, you can make this action more graceful by connecting the movement with the breath. Make sure that when you practice the movement, you're also practicing the correct breath. If the breath is calm and leads the movement, you'll find the action is nice and floaty. Also, integrate the correct drishti, in this case to the nose, so that you're always working with the tristana, the 3 places of attention. Now the jump forward from Adho Mukha Svanasana to the lifted standing forward bend position. First, let's look at the preparation for the jump that you do out of downward dog. At the tail end of the 5th exhalation, you begin to prepare for the jump. Slightly bend the knees and come onto your toes. You don't need to bend the knees that much. You're just hopping to the front of the mat, not between buildings. Lift your head and look at the spot on the floor somewhere just past your hands. Press into the hands in the exact same way that you did to lift and jump back. Ground through the inner palms and slightly roll the upper arms out away from the ears until you feel your shoulders drop. This is all on your exhalation. Let's break this down a bit. When you're jumping forward, you're actually returning to the upward action of the jump back. You want to try to jump the hips above the shoulders and bring your thighs against your torso. Sometimes it feels like you might just keep going past your arms and fall over onto your back. This is where you can use your head. Your head helps you steer the hips when they're in the air. When you drop your head, chin towards your chest, your hips will come higher. When you lift your head, chin away from the floor, your hips and feet will go back down towards the floor. If you ever feel like you're going over, lift your chin to put the brakes on. A common problem with jumping forward is that sometimes the feet don't land close to the hands. This usually happens when you straighten the legs too soon. Unless you've got long, flexible hamstrings or short legs, it will be very difficult to jump into a balanced, straight leg forward fold. The solution is to keep the knees slightly bent, just as you did with the lifting part of the jump back. You also need to keep the arms straight for this entire vinyasa. When you're jumping forward onto the hands, try to maintain the horseshoe shape between the arms and the chest. Keep the legs as close as possible to the body, so that when your weight is balanced over the fulcrum of the arms, the thighs and the stomach are still touching. The knees can stay bent so that the stomach and thighs are close together. Holding that shape in the body and keeping the arms straight, Let the tailbone drop and the feet come down. Round the back to drop the tailbone. Again, this is the exact same shape in the body that you held for lifting up in Chatwari. That's pretty much it for the technique portion of this video. I know it's a lot to retain, but don't worry, because now we're going to put it all together in the practice section.
Vande Gurunam Charanaravinday Sandarashita Swatmasu Kavabode Nishre Ase Jangali Kayamane Samsara Hala Hala Moha Shantye Abahu Purushakaram Shankachakrasidaharinam Sahasra Shirasam Shwetam Pranamami Patanjalim
So you're inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, nice steady breath, exhaling. Getting ready now for Surya-Namaskar. Ekam, inhale, lift your arms up, look up. Dwe, exhale, fold, hands to the floor. Trini, inhale, slowly lift your head, look up. Chatwari, exhale, step back, chaturanga. Pancha, inhale, pull through, upward dog. Shat, exhale, go back into downward dog. 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 2, breathing with sound. Exhale. 3, making your inhalations sound just like your exhalations. 4, keep your gaze on your navel, Nabhi Chakra Drishti. 5, exhaling, and then prepare, look up. Sapta, inhale, step forward, lifting your head. Ashtau, exhale, fold. Nava, inhale, come all the way up, palms together. Exhale, samastiti. Ekam, inhale, lift your arms, look at the hands. Dwe, exhale, fold, gaze to the nose. Trini, inhale, head up, look between the eyebrows. Chatwari, exhale, go back, chaturanga. Pancha, inhale, gaze to the nose. Shat, exhale, gaze to the navel. 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 2, stay still. Notice any movements you're making. Exhale. 3, keep your drishti steady. Exhale. 4, holding the bandhas, keep them engaged. 5, and prepare, come onto your toes. Sapta, inhale, step forward, look up between your eyebrows. Ashtau, exhale, fold, gaze towards your nose. Nava, inhale, come all the way up, look at your hands. Exhale, samastiti. Ekam, inhale, lift your arms. Dwe, exhale, fold, nose to the legs. Trini, inhale, slowly lift your head. Chatwari, exhale, go back, chaturanga. Pancha, inhale, upward dog. Shat, exhale, downward dog. 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 2, stay still. Exhale. 3, keep the gaze on the navel. Exhale. Sapta, inhale, step feet to the hands, head up, Ashtau, exhale, fold. Nava, inhale, come up, palms touch, exhale, Samastiti. Ekam, inhale, lift your arms, contain the ribs. Dwe, exhale, fold, palms flat to the ground. Trini, inhale, head up, bandhas lift. Chatwari, exhale, lean into straight arms, come up, now bend the elbows. Pancha, inhale, slow down as you pull through. Shat, exhale, press back to downward dog. 1, exhale. 2, press through the inner hands. Exhale. 3, roll the outer shoulders down towards the floor. 4, broad upper back. Keep your bandhas engaged. 5. Now bend the knees, look up, and hop, sapta, inhaling, feet together. Ashtau, exhale, fold, squeeze the elbows in. Nava, inhale, press through the feet, arms up, look up, exhale, samastiti. Last one. Ekam, inhale. Dwe, exhale. Trini, inhale. Chatwari, exhale. Pancha, inhale. Shat, exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 'Prepare. Sapta. Inhale. Ashtau. Exhale. Nava. Inhale. Exhale. Samastiti. Surya-Namаскар B. Ekam. Inhale. Bend the knees. Arms up. Dwe. Exhale. Fold. Hands to the floor. Trini. Inhale. Head up. Straight arms. Chatwari, exhale, jump back, chaturanga. Pancha, inhale, slowly into upward dog. Shat, exhale, go back into downward dog. Sapta, inhale, right foot forward, arms up. Ashtau, exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Nava, inhale, upward dog. Dasha, exhale, downward dog. Ekadasha, inhale, left foot forward, arms up. Dwadasha, exhale, down to chaturanga. Triodasha, inhale, upward dog, press into the hands. Chaturdasha, exhale, back to downward dog. 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 2, stay still, watch your breath. Exhale. 3, reach through the heels towards the floor. Exhale. 4, keep pressing the thighs back, away from the chest. 5, lift the bandhas. Exhale. Come onto your toes, prepare. Panchadasha, inhale, jump, legs together. Shodasha, exhale, fold. Saptadasha, bend the knees, lift the arms, palms touch. Exhale, samastiti. Ekam, inhale, lift the arms, bend the knees. Dwe, exhale, fold, body and legs together. Trini, inhale, straight arms, head up, look up between your eyebrows. Chatwari, exhale, jump back, bend the elbows. Pancha, inhale, slowly pull through. Shat, exhale, time the movement to the breath. Sapta, inhale, lift the arms, look up to your hands. Ashtau, exhale, palms flat. Nava, inhale, keep your bandhas engaged, gaze to the nose. Dasha, exhale, lift the hips. Ekadasha, inhale, left foot forward, palms together, look up. Dwadasha, exhale, back to Chaturanga. Trayodasha, inhale, slowly pull through, chest forward. Chaturdasha, exhale, downward dog. 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 2, keep pressing through the inner palms, lift the front ribs, contain them. 3, soften the jaw, soften the tongue, exhale. 4, drishti is steady on the navel, exhale. 5, keep engaging the bandhas, exhale. Prepare, come onto your toes. Panchadasha, inhale, jump, straight arms, head up. Shodasha, exhale, fold. Saptadasha, bend the knees, squeeze the legs together, lift the arms up, exhale, samastiti. Last one. Ekam, inhale. Dve, exhale. Trini, inhale. Chatwari, exhale. Pancha, inhale. Shat, exhale. Sapta, inhale, right foot. Ashtau, exhale. Nava, inhale. Dasha, exhale. Ekadasha, inhale, left foot. Dwadasha, exhale. Trayodasha, inhale. Chaturdasha, exhale. 1. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. Prepare. Panchadasha, inhale. Shodasha, exhale. Saptadasha, inhale. Exhale, samastiti.
Swasti prajabhya paripalayantam Nyayena margena mahim mahishaha Go brahmanebhyaha shubhamastu nityam Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti